Let's look at dog culture as a scam. Dog culture is a scam. The ownership of dogs is a scam on society. So, if you're one of the other dog hating channels, you probably agree with me on this. But if you're new to my channel or new to the critiquing of dog ownership, I'll put some playlists in the description to help demonstrate this. Well, let's do a brief look at some other sources. So they say the health benefits of dogs are supported by some research. But notice this, the evidence is mixed, with some studies showing no significant health benefits. So there are a bunch of studies out there that tell us owning a dog is going to help with dozens and dozens of supposed problems that just won't go away without dog ownership. But here in America, we have the largest amount of dog ownership and the largest amount of all the problems that dogs are supposedly fixing. And speaking of studies, I just want to briefly show everybody this. The National Institute of Health has dozens and dozens of studies that they use their taxpayer money on that demonstrate the absolute nastiness of dog attacks on kids. Dog attacks on kids is more often than not done by a family dog that has been brought into their house by the adults. And that's why it's a scam. It takes your money, it takes your kids, it takes your time, and all the benefits of dog ownership never come to fruition. So this is why on my dog critiquing channel, I'm trying to get away from going after the end user. The end user is the dog owner, the dog trainer. They are the ones being scammed. And so we're just kind of like fighting amongst ourselves when we trash talk dog owners. And I'm totally guilty of it. I will call a dog owner stupid, idiotic. I saw two people chasing a dog across the street the other day. They almost got hit by a car. Two cars locked up their brakes. And the dog got away and was barking at another dog. And I was sitting there in my truck witnessing this, and I was like, you freaking stupid. You nearly killed yourself. But they're being scammed. They've been scammed thinking that dog ownership is going to be so great. And so scammers, which is the people pushing dogs, they benefit from the victim blaming that we do. It discourages victims from reporting their experience, allowing scammers to continue their fraudulent activities without facing accountability. All of the nastiness that happens in dog culture, it's ultra low accountability. Dog attacks especially. And this stigma can lead to isolation and shame for victims, making it harder for them to seek support. So everybody that suffers from something that has to do with dogs, they hide it. They don't want to feel that shame. So scammers pose as family members. Well, what do dogs pose as? Family members. Yeah, and so they're in distress. Look what it says right here. Family members in distress to manipulate victims into sending money quickly. So yeah, they're talking about a financial scam here, but it's the same thing with dog culture. They push the ownership of dogs like, you better get a dog now, or he's going to get euthanized. If you don't spend this much money now, he's not going to be happy. It's all about this poor family member that you need to spend a bunch of money on. And yes, they create a sense of urgency. You don't do it now. And so, like I was talking about earlier, family dogs are often the ones that kill toddlers or maul the mailman or another family member. Yeah, because they're, as with other scams, they're posing as family members. So let's go to our next little summary here. So an example of a scam. It's like a dietary supplement that claims to cure various diseases. Well, that's like with dog ownership. Anxiety, PTSD. Oh, you're not doing good in school. We'll put a bunch of dogs in your classroom. Dogs claim to do all sorts of stuff for you. They're better than humans. All that kind of stuff. But dogs contain undeclared ingredients. Piss and shit, CO2 coming out of their mouth that makes viruses live longer. And dogs are not approved by health authorities. Even though we're letting dogs in restaurants now, even though we're letting dogs in the hospitals and physical therapy, all that pet dander, the urine particles, the feces particles, that's not approved by health authorities. In fact, dog feces is listed as a toxic compound by the EPA. So now back to our little shame part of this. Many dog bite victims do not report the incident due to fear of causing financial hardship for the dog owner, especially if the owner is a friend or family member. Oh gosh. Additionally, victims may be unaware of their legal rights. That's another thing with the dog attack victims. They're totally unaware of their legal rights. And they're shamed. They're shamed. They don't want to let people know that they were bitten by a dog. They don't want to hurt the dog. They don't want to make dog culture look bad. They're all participating in this little scam. So, like we're talking about, dog attack victims experience feelings of shame and isolation, particularly if they develop visible injuries or post traumatic stress disorder, which they all have some type of PTSD from dog bites. They're just forced to suppress it. But these emotional responses can significantly impact their quality of life and mental health. So people that are going through this stuff with dog ownership and being attacked by dogs, they're living in shame, isolation, and shame because they can't talk about it. They got scammed. They got scammed by thinking it's cool to go up and pet a dog, or it's cool to not be on guard around a dog, and they got injured. And when a scam occurs, people engage in blame shifting. So, like I was mentioning earlier, this is why I'm trying to do my channel different. This is why I hold some of the other anti dog YouTube channels in low regard. They focus on the blame shifting, the targeting both the scammer and each other. We can do video after video complaining about dog attacks, pointing out how stupid dog owners are. But those poor suckers are already living in shame owning their dogs. Not just for the dog bites, but for the expenses. They feel shameful themselves because they don't think they've done good enough for their dog. I covered the guilt that dog owners go through in another video. But this is a culture of victim blaming. The other YouTube channels that I butt heads with a lot, the ones that call me unhinged and that stupid guy talking about politics, the ones that get all pissed off at me and stuff, they are creating a culture of victim blaming. Because the dog owners themselves are the end user. This scam of dog ownership comes from high above. It comes from the tax shelter organizations that use our infrastructure to fill our neighborhoods with dogs that kill our humans. Yeah. But this behavior can prevent victims from seeking help and reporting the crime. It's like I was talking about with the people that don't want to report stuff with dogs, even barking. And we ultimately benefit the scammers. You see, guys, this is why the typical anti-dog channel, the I hate dogs type of channel, we're creating a culture of, we're making a bunch of dog haters, and that's fine. But we're not making a bunch of people that actually love our fellow humans. We're benefiting the scammers because we're making the dog owners dig in deeper, and we're just creating a bunch of narrow-minded dog haters. And I'm not saying that we can't call dog owners stupid. I'm not saying that those other channels need to stop what they're doing. But we need to also recognize this behavior that we are doing ourselves. We can't be hypocrites here. And so here's another article I'll show you guys. It's called Victim Blaming Harms Us All. This is about financial scams, but have a look at this. This applies directly to dog culture as well. Victim blaming language, even when used unwittingly, helps no one and harms everyone. Yeah. So, like we were talking about earlier, victims hide in shame and don't report the crime. Family relationships suffer. Institutions lack data on the true extent of the problem. Now, they're talking about financial scams. But, guys, with dog culture, we know the extent of most authorities know the extent of the problem. They're just not allowing people to get out of this ignorance. Like, like these NIH studies, I have a longer video on it. The information is all out there, but we're not using it. And so, as it says here, resources that could be applied to combating scams are directed to other more measurable societal problems. So we can do videos and videos and videos with funny, entertaining dunk on dog owners and stuff like that. And that's kind of like what they're talking about here. That's a measurable thing. But we could really be putting our resources to combating the scam at the scam level, not fighting each other at the end user level. Yeah. And so I was talking about the end user. Scams typically involve two main parties, the scammers and the end users. So the end users are the dog people. Yes, they are part of the scam too because they live in shame and they put all this stuff up about their dog is so great. I love my dog so much. I couldn't live without him. Blah, blah, blah. Yet they have bite marks on their hand and they have a overdrawn bank account because of a vet bill. So they are part of the scam too, but they are still the end users. They are still the victims. Dog owners themselves are victims of this scam. They've been deceived into providing personal information or money. Yeah. So again, I just wanted to show you guys this concept of the end users, products that are marketed to end users. And it's like I was showing you in the previous slides. The end users fighting amongst each other, calling each other stupid. You're a stupid dog owner. No, you're a stupid dog hater. That just makes them dig in more. And these dogs, they are fake merchandise or services that are never delivered. Yeah, services never delivered. That's dog ownership. Police dogs attacking people, people that work in dog shelters being killed and mauled. Yeah, all the goodness that dogs promise, it's never brought to society. Paying for items they did not order. Yeah, did you order a dog attack? No. Did you ask your tax money to go towards building a bunch of stuff for dogs? No, you didn't. That's paying for items you did not order. You have been scammed. And shaming people, like I was saying, it causes them to dig in deeper. They become more defensive. So we can dunk on dogs and hate on dog owners all day, but we're just making them dig in deeper, and we're benefiting the scammer. We're benefiting the dog worshipping government. We're benefiting the 501c3 tax shelter organizations that are literally using our taxpayer infrastructure to push dogs while they exchange billions of dollars without paying taxes on it. Yeah. So there you go. Scammers benefit from victim blaming. So the more we victim blame and the less that we look deeper into this dog culture scam, we're just taking wind out of our sail from this movement. So when I talk about deeper stuff on my channel, financial, political, all the tax shelter organizations and the other channels don't like me for doing that. They're just making us weak. They're refusing to look deeper at this, and they're just keeping the fight right here at the end user, which is scientifically, historically, just common sense proven to be a complete waste of time and to make the problem worse. See you guys later.